The healing vine. In love and hope you'll find the cure. Revealed in time. The lesson love will be for sure. While we're on this journey through many of its struggles and strife, love will bring us
Well,
pleasure.
hello, good people. Stephanie Hancock here. Welcome to the Healing Vine podcast. I am your humble host. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. Please click the like and subscribe button so that you will be first up for all of our new content that we'll be producing every single week. So, you know what? I'm excited today because I have a world-renowned, famous, beautiful person here to talk with me today. And if you notice behind me this outstandingly gorgeous art that's hanging on my wall, well, this is Juliette Hemingway, and she is the artist. And I'm just like, and she's my friend. We've known each other for like years and years and years. And I'm just so delighted to have you here today because I love your work. I love the color and the vibrancy. It just speaks to me and it makes me so happy. And if you go on my website, stephaniehancock.com, shameless plug right there, you'll see her art on the website. But Juliette, just tell us your inspiration, how really, let's talk about this stuff first. And then we'll talk about the stuff that you're doing now because you are just a prolific artist and I'm just so impressed with your body of work.
Oh, well, thank you. That was the sweetest introduction that I've ever had. It's like, wow, who's she talking about?
I'm a fan. I'm a total fangirl for you because I've always loved your work. And from the first time I saw it, I mean, when you did for Colored Girls, that one piece there in the back, you did a whole section, a whole series for that show. Even before then, I loved your work, but that was so emotive and it's so expressive, and everybody that looked at those pieces just like went nuts over them. So tell me a little bit about how your inspiration helps you to be creative.
My inspiration for my work is sitting over in the corner over there. My kiddo, who's not looking at me right now, but
He's totally engrossed in his phone over there. He's like, yeah, what's my phone saying?
but I mean, I've always been an artist. You know how artists are. Everything inspires us, it feels like. But until I got pregnant with Javari, I didn't have any real direction or any real purpose to my work. I just knew I could draw. Mm-hmm. And that was it. And I knew I loved to draw. You know, I would draw comic books and, you know, sit at my grandmother's table with my cousins and we would read The Wizard of Id. Remember that comic?
Oh, yes, I do remember The Wizard of Id. Yeah! I'm Wizard of Id old, y'all. Y'all don't know about that, but we do. I know about The Wizard of Id.
Wizard of Id. You know, we would sit there at the kitchen table and we would copy the comics. So all of us were artists, but until I got pregnant, I didn't really have any real purpose, right? I didn't know what I wanted to do with it. I just knew I wanted to be an artist. But so I really attribute my inspiration to my son. You know, the Blue People, the jazz, everything kind of came from him. I mean, I started drawing this before he was even born, not realizing the significance of those blue characters, you know.
And you had the funky cool period, which I thought was so great because the vibrancy of the color, I mean, there's so much red and blue and yellow. It just says, hello, I am here. You cannot pass me and ignore me because I am so present. So tell me about the inspiration for funky cool and how that came together.
That's, you know, it was kind of an evolution because before I was a very kind of a classical realist type of artist. You know, I wanted to be a portrait artist. So, but it was just an evolution. It was me exploring and, you know, just trying to figure it out. And then when I started doing the funky cool work, it felt natural, right? I really enjoyed it. When I was doing my realist work, I felt like I was working at it, even though I still love it and I still admire classical realism, you know, and I love seeing, you know, classical artists that come from Florence or one of the ateliers all over the world. I love looking at their works and their realist works and their portraiture, but this right here just comes so natural to me.
It flows.
This is it.
Yeah,
this is my thing, my style. And I know a lot of artists are always looking for their style, and it's hard to say, do this, this, and this to get your style. It's just an exploration until you find that groove.
So were you classically trained? Did you go to art school?
No, I taught myself.
Now, see, that is so unique and powerful. It's like, as a singer, people ask me, well, who did you study under? And I'm like, we all just sang in my family. And so
Right.
I kind of learned from my Uncle James, who had a soprano voice, and my mom, who could sing from the back. So, you know, to be able to say that it was a natural, innate part of your DNA, and it just sort of flowed out.
We didn't have the internet back then where you could take online classes.
Right.
When I say I taught myself, you teach yourself, right?
You got the paints out, the brushes, and just starts.
Brushes, you started copying, you started, just doing what you could, reading books, hello, reading books.
Books.
Reading books. I used to get all the magazines that had to do with art, anything that was art related. I tried to get my hands on it. But, I couldn't afford to go to Italy and study. There wasn't any real ateliers here in the States when I was younger. So if I wanted to go and get classically trained, I would have had to go to Florence, which, by the way, I was actually accepted to that school, but life happened.
So tell
and I
us,
ended up not going.
Us non-people who don't know what an atelier is, because I'm nodding like I know what that is, but I do not know what that is. So tell us what that is.
That is basically an art school, and I'm probably not saying this right. I know somebody's going to probably correct me, but it's where artists go to get classically trained.
Okay.
It's a very rigorous schedule. You're drawing 3 to 4 hours a day, take a break, and then you do more drawing 3 to 4 hours a day. The first year is nothing but drawing. You're drawing from bar casts, you're copying, and it's all drawing for like the first couple years before they even let you pick up a paintbrush.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So is that where you do the little
rigorous
flowers and fruits and
Yeah,
stuff
you're
like
doing
that?
still lives, you're doing figure drawing. Now when you go to an art instruction school that may not be an atelier, you do what they call short poses, which could be 30 seconds, an hour, not even an hour. But at the classically trained schools, a short pose could be a week.
Wow.
So it's rigorous training. So
Wow.
yeah, I got accepted. I sent in my portfolio because I drew some stuff and put it out there, sent it to the academy, the Florence Academy, and they accepted me. But life happened.
Yeah. Life happens.
Life happened.
And oftentimes, it does. Because, like you younger, when I was younger, I was touring with the band and I just knew I was going to be the next big pop star. Then I had babies. And so then I got a real job. And then I started get a real job. And then I started doing other things. But it never left you. That's the thing. It's in your DNA. It's who you are. And it comes out. And, the beauty of this, when I think about legacy and when I think about third acts and when I think about how when you're done doing that one thing, your art is still right there. It's always right there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I thought I would be satisfied becoming a graphic designer and stuff like that, but it's not the same.
Oh, no. It's calling you. It's saying, hey.
It'll always be calling me.
Yeah. It's like, hey, remember me? I'm your paintbrush. Come on out. Come on, take me out. Come on, play me. Come on. And when I look at your work, when I first looked at your work, I thought, Picasso. I thought, what is the guy that had who worked on the building that still was under construction when he left? That was very abstract. Oh man. See, I don't know. It went right out of my head, y'all. But I mean, that's what I think of the boldness of your work. It's just like, I'm not leaving anything on the table. It's all out there. So do you kind of get that feeling as you're creating?
I get the feeling that I'm always breaking rules when I'm painting. So I don't know if it's a good thing or, and maybe that's why I didn't get classically trained. there's rules, there's a foundation.
Yeah.
And I would still encourage artists to get foundational training because, you'll gain knowledge from that, and I actually am going back to some more foundational training because I'm, again, on this journey with my artwork and it's evolving, right?
As it should.
Yeah.
As it should. Because I'm thinking about the La La song behind me here. And I love this piece because it's huge, number one. But it was inspired by a song, right?
Your song.
My song. Another shameless plug. But the La La song, and I was so thrilled when you created that piece because I love the figure on the bottom. She reminds me of what I could be if I could be totally free with myself. I would wear big flowers in my hair, and I did have my hair blue over the summer. That was fun. But to be able to just be totally okay with your own freedom, I think that's what art gives us. Especially visual art, it gives us the opportunity to be totally uninhibited in our freedom on the canvas and let everybody just have the experiences of just opening that window a little bit.
All your thoughts, as an artist, all your thoughts and your passions, your concerns, your worries, your joys, everything is on the canvas. Yep.
And you've had several really wonderful and huge exhibits across the country. I'm thinking about the one in Kansas that you did. And that was, how many pieces were
it was 92.
And
It was 92 and 12 were Javari's. So that was his first show. Where old were you? 15? 13.
He was 13.
He was 13.
Okay.
And it was, wow, that was a pivotal point in my life because, I was going through a divorce and I got that show and I had 6 months to make it happen. I already had 40 pieces. I already had 40 pieces in inventory because all I was doing was painting. And then she was like, okay, we're going to open up in January. This was like June or something like that. I was like, all right. She's like, here's the space. It's what? How? 3,000, 2,000 square feet or something like that? So
I was like, blink, blink, blink,
blink. I mean, I woke up, I went to work, I came home, I painted, I went back to bed, and that's all I did for at least 6 months.
And we're not talking digital. We're talking paint on brush on canvas. And I know a lot of artists though, they just do everything digitally now. So what do you think of that medium?
I love digital.
Really?
Honestly, yeah. That piece is digital.
See, even though that piece
I love digital.
Tell me why you like that medium so much. Oh man,
because it allows you to just do and not think so much. So when I'm painting, I feel like I'm always thinking about the next step when I'm painting. And I'll always do traditional work. I'll always do traditional work. But when I'm doing digital, it's so just freeing to be able to just, okay, let's just, you don't get that feeling of fear when you see a white canvas, a blank canvas, because it's a blank piece of paper. And you're like, oh, I don't want to mess up this cool sketchbook, or oh, I don't want to mess up this canvas because, it has to be perfect because you know how artists are, we got to be perfect.
Yeah.
But with digital, if I don't like it, just pull up another
and do it again.
Yeah.
You know what? That's an interesting perspective because when I think about that, I can draw stick people pretty good. I'm really good with my stick people. But when I put something on, I tried my hand at trying to paint some abstract things and I was like, oh man, I jacked that up. But I'm stuck with it because it's there and it's on. And piece of and canvases aren't cheap. It's like, $100 for a big canvas. Yeah. Or you could do like me, go to the Goodwill, buy a canvas, paint it over, and then do stuff.
Oh, I've done that too.
And I was like, I think about the masters who painted over their own pieces, except they use that putty paint, goopy stuff. I don't know. I'm like, you scrape it off and you got some guy underneath there. But to be able to have that freedom doing it in the digital medium, did that expand your ability?
I think it did. I think when I started incorporating digital into my work, it allowed me to go to another level in my work. It really did. And also it's portable. And I get that a sketchbook is portable, but
But if you have it,
it's like, it's like right here, you put out the stylus, put it away. But it allowed me to level it up.
wow, I never thought of it that way until just now
Because if you look at this piece over here, which is one of my earlier pieces, no, that's probably earlier.
yeah, the jazz singer.
Yeah.
That was my first
but
piece.
that
I got
one
from
right
you.
there, that's a totally different look. Well, I mean, you can tell it's the same artist, but I think you can see the evolution and stuff.
Yes, but I still love those because to me, just seeing the swishes on the canvas, it just made me feel like when I touch those, which I don't very much, because you really shouldn't touch them.
Yeah.
But when I get up close to them, it's like I feel the intimacy of you and your hand. I know your hands were on it. You know what I'm saying? That you were like working the brush and you were doing. I just felt like I know her, and I know this. She did this. This was her work. And I felt like, I was connected to you in that way. But when I see that piece, of that you memorialized Mr. Hancock and me on there, that just was like, when I saw that, I was like, hey, that's me. And I was like, oh my gosh, which takes me to our epic trip. We're in the car and we want to get out. We want to help us. Daddy's driving. Help. We want to get out of the vehicle. We've been here for 12 hours. It seems like it. I'm not really sure. To New York. Oh my gosh.
How much did we spend in tolls?
Oh my gosh.
I've never seen so many tolls in my life.
Oh my, we spent like $50 on one toll. Don't go to New York City in a car, people. Not unless you have a whole you better bring your look. Make sure your credit card is zero, because they're gonna charge you up the wang wang. Okay.
That was nuts.
Oh my gosh, it was a crazy trip, but it was such a great trip because you were the resident artist for Jazz on the Hudson, and you created the whole the visual artistic flavor for that whole thing, and to see your work just everywhere just made my heart glad, because we're here in Colorado, and then we go to New York and say, this is what we do out in Colorado, okay? Just so we bring in the heat, and I think we stayed up for like 2 solid days. We were up for 2 days. And that pizza joint. Oh my goodness, it was so authentic all day, and to be able to play and be on the Hudson Valley. I mean, the sights and the sounds and the smells and just being with you. I mean, it was a great trip. For me, it's one of those things I check off and say, yeah. This was a trip that I put in the books as one of my most memorable trips ever.
Well, yeah, subways, dead rats.
Yeah.
Trash.
New York yelling at you, where you going? I'm like, we're just going over here. We're from Colorado, don't be afraid. Eating cupcakes in the middle of the night. I was like, man, that was the most fun on no money. No money. But we had fun. It was really great. And to be inspired by that, to see you create out of the midst of that experience, it's truly remarkable how you're able to do that. When someone asks you, where, aside from your son and the elements, where do you find your creative spark that continues to help you to create new works?
I tell people that I'm not always inspired, though, to create. I have to, sometimes it's me fighting through just to get up and create, to be honest. Because it takes a lot out of you. And sometimes, being, I think, more of an empath kind of person, and the things that have been going around, especially the last couple of years, it's, I've had to get up and just say, okay, Julie, today you're going to draw. But a lot of my, I guess you can call it inspiration, and my spark does come from what's going on in the world as it's going on. Because I think part of an artist's job is to kind of just, to catalog what's happening in the world, what's happening around you.
How do you find the joy and the beauty out of it? Because for me, I like to look at everything from a spiritual perspective. You know, what does God say about this? What should I know about this? And how can I radiate, joy and God's love through my medium? Mine is music.
Right.
So yours is, and I agree with you what you said there, because some days I don't feel like singing.
Right.
And I've gone and said, and I hate to say this, but I've gone for months without singing.
Oh,
single
I've
note.
gone for months without drawing. As a matter of fact, a doctor told me one day, my doctor told me this. He was like, I know you're an artist. Have you been drawing? I was like, no. He's like, well, you should start again. Right?
To have a non-artist tell you that. I mean, that's like, bing, somebody just hit you in the head with a rock. You're like, oh.
Well, that's the thing, though. Some days you wake up and you don't feel like doing it, but it'll never let you go, is the thing. You can't not do it. I've tried to explain to my husband, you can't not create, because his son is an artist.
Okay.
And, my husband is a very left brain kind of person.
Very analytical. It's like,
I can, spreadsheets, but his son is an artist also, so I get it. And he has to be an artist. And, sometimes they butt heads, but, I think he actually is kind of understanding now, because as an artist and, being around an artist, it's like, you have to do it.
Yeah.
You can't let it go. You can get a job.
Yeah.
You can get a job, you can get benefits and do all that stuff, but the art will always call you.
Be there. Yeah.
It'll always call you.
Yeah. And it's so funny, because I'm at my work before we all went home, and we're all in these long tables basically, and we all have our little workstations, and I'm just humming. And they're like, "Are you singing?" And I'm like, apparently I am, and I'm doing it with my outside voice. And so I know just what you mean, because it is in the core of my being. If I could not sing, even if it's just me in my office, in the closet, I would die. I couldn't do it. I couldn't go on, even though I have a day job. It's like, this is part of it's my DNA. It's my DNA. It gives me a reason to move. And so when you're trying to create, and when you're pushing yourself to say you must, because you're everything within you is telling you that, how do you find the beauty to convey outward? Because it could be easy to paint depressing stuff. I mean, I could sing the blues all day long.
Right?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it's funny, because I honestly, I don't even really look at my work as beauty, as joyful, to be honest. It's just what comes out, right? That's it. That's what you're getting.
And I mean, art is so subjective, because one person could look at it and go, woo, another person could go, another could go, meh, And so, but for me, like, for example, Bring You to Life over here. It's yellow, it's red, and I love how you scribed on there the lyrics to the song.
Yeah.
Because it really, speaks to, let's direct your attention to what we're speaking about here, and just her energy. To me, she's like, I'm here, I'm reaching for something. That's what it tells me. I don't know. Is that what you were thinking when you painted it?
I love that question. Because sometimes I don't even know what I'm thinking. I'm not always thinking when I'm painting, to be honest. But no, with this one, I was definitely listening to the words. I was listening to the words, and I was just, and words become part of the art. Like, like Basquiat, he was always writing, words in his pieces, and I love that integration of words and painting and figures. But a lot of this piece in particular was just that inspiration from that song, just like Lalo.
Yeah, and I love that. I love the marriage of those two things, because it no matter what kind of artistic form you use, art speaks in a way that nothing else does. Art and spirituality, art and prayer, our connection with our Creator, it speaks, even when we don't know what to always say. Does that make sense?
That definitely makes sense.
And I think from you, what I get from you and from your work is that it speaks in ways, because you're such a shy person. I mean, she's a joy to be around, don't get me wrong, but she's not like me. She, just busts into the room and everybody's like, oh my gosh, run for the exits. No, she's a quiet storm, with an artistic, tornado that's on the inside there, and it's reminiscent. I mean, red. You got to have a lot of courage to work with red, and like the Bull period, the blues,
the Bull
and the
period.
Blue People. I mean, that's not for the faint of heart.
Well, color, I think color speaks to me. Line speaks, right? You get the different vibe and the different emotions when you look at color. I mean, there's definitely a lot of truth in color theory. They use it all over. Interior decorators use it, graphic designers use it. So there's definitely truth there. But when I'm painting, I'm not necessarily thinking about color theory, but I'm just trying to convey something, and I go out and I pick the right color,
And there it is.
it is.
And it's like, I think, was it Michelangelo that said when he looked at the granite piece when he did his David, was it Michael? He said it was there. I just chipped off the extra pieces. It was already there. And I thought, wow, you see things on a whole nother level. And that's what I think about. I think about
stuff like that.
I'm like, whoa, that's some 3D looking right there. I mean, I think about you and how you look at a canvas and at a blank medium, and then it just evolves out of that space. I think it's just such a tremendous gift that everybody should be able to appreciate. And with that said, what are you working on now? Because I'm really interested.
So, my life has done a complete turnaround in the last, 6 months?
Yeah.
Did all those big things, got married,
Yeah,
moved,
you're a newlywed. And
quit my job.
quit my job. The things I dream of doing. Going and saying, today is my last day. Doses, but not yet.
No, my husband is extremely, extremely supportive. And, it's funny, you guys have known me forever, so you have known that I have always wanted to quit my job and be a full-time artist. That was the end all be all. That's it. And when Sean asked me to marry him and we talked about moving to Texas and he was telling me about this opportunity, I was like, we're moving where? Excuse me? Texas?
Whirlwind.
So, but, he said to me, because I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't even know how to act. I've been working my whole life.
Yeah.
To not work and just pursue my art.
Your passion, your
Yeah,
gifting,
what?
your calling.
So he said to me, because I was like, I've been praying for this, but I didn't think it would come this way. He was like, well, maybe I'm the vehicle for the blessing.
Well, there you go.
And I was like, I can't say no to that.
Right? Because, you ask God for stuff.
Yeah.
It's not like going to
And
be...
you expect it to come a certain way, right?
Yeah, right? Right? It's like, okay, God, I'm going to need you to do this like this.
Exactly
And he's like, no, I'm not doing it like that. I'm not doing it like that. This is how it's coming. And blessed are the flexible, for they shall not be bent out of shape. That's not scriptural. So don't be looking for it because it ain't in here. But I just want you to know, when God gives you the blessing, when he says, this is the road, walk on it.
Yep.
You got to be prepared to go. Because if you've been praying for it for so long and now it happens, that's when, I don't know, fear, anxiety, I don't know what's going to happen. What if I really do this?
It's been all of It's been all of that. But,
Yeah.
but it's funny because I'll wake up and I think it's, what do they call it? Imposter syndrome right now.
Just like, I really
never
don't.
knew what people meant by that until now. And, I'll wake up and I'm like, I feel like I should be doing something. I need to go to work. I need to do this. I need to be worried about a bill or something like that. Because I've spent my whole life, doing that.
Right.
But, so there's a little bit of that imposter syndrome there for sure.
And it's going to take some adjusting.
It is. But, it's like, so like I said, I'm going back to, I'm going to start taking a class actually, just so I can get out there because I've been kind of like sitting on my hands for the last couple of months thinking I've been overanalyzing it, overthinking it. But I've still been sketching. So what I've been doing is I've been taking like the events that's been happening over the last couple of years, especially with Black Lives Matter. And I've just been trying to figure that out. Just figuring out how do I express my pain when I see this stuff happening. And so, of course, my thoughts of my show is, it's like so grandiose. You know, I'm like, okay, God, this has to be you, because I can't
Yeah.
possibly be thinking this big.
And what I've heard often people say who have reached the level of success that you're about to achieve is that if it's bigger than you ever thought possible, that's when you know that God has his hand in it. Because in and of our own strength, we might have plans, but God is the one that orchestrates everything. And so for us, if we really, really believe that he can do everything and that he owns everything, we can rest in that. But we as finite human beings,
Right.
we're crackpots. We're trying to put some glue in there and make it stick. But it's like, are my dreams actually coming true? Really, really, really? It's like you got to smack your own self, you know? It's like
Such a strange feeling. You know,
oh,
I
man.
mean, I think I don't know if you guys saw the post. I did that post of that attic space that's going to be my studio. I walk in that thing every day. I walk up in there, I look, and I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be my studio one day. But it's just,
I get tingle bumps just thinking about it.
it's just the most bizarre feeling. It's
All your dreams and wishes coming. I mean, just what you've prayed for. I mean, God doesn't forget.
No.
He does not forget. Even the slightest whispered prayer, God hears. And when you set your intention on that and say, Lord, whatever you decide to do, I trust you.
Yeah.
And he's always working.
Always
it's
working.
never instant. It's not like, Pop-Tarts. I mean, it's just like he's moving and he needs you to be prepared to receive that. And that's, he's been preparing you this whole time, and now
I
here
believe
you
that.
are, you've got the skills, you've got the know-how, you've got the talent. That's obvious. And now it's time for you to walk in purpose, which makes me think about legacy. We're in our legacy years. We're looking, there's a lot more back there than there is ahead. So, we got some history. But see, that's the beauty of legacy, because the pitfalls, the bumps, you've survived the bruises, and you're here to tell the story. So when you're looking at legacy, what does that mean to you as an artist, as a mom, as a person walking through the life here?
I mean, I think it's funny that you even brought that up, because I think about that a lot. What kind of legacy am I not only going to leave the world, but also leave my son? And outside of the finances, right? Outside of, okay, I want to leave him an inheritance, finances, or whatever. In reality, I want him to be proud. That was my mom. That was her piece. I want him to be able to say that. But also, I also want him to understand that pursue your passion. I think that's the best legacy I could leave him. When my dad passed away, and he was a writer, he was a great writer, but he never wrote a book. He died with his music inside of him. So when he passed away, I remember, I don't know if I was talking to my brother and sister, but I remember saying to my brother or sister, or both, I'm not going to die with my music inside me. And, at that time, I decided, okay, it's time to change things around.
Step out.
And things started changing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. And I think, everybody should take that as inspirational, because I feel the same way you do. I don't want to leave anything on the table. I tell my kids, I'm going to ride this thing until the wheels fall off. I'm not playing. And there's a lot of fear, that I have to deal with inside my own head. And like you said, the imposter syndrome. What if I fail? But what if I succeed?
Exactly.
What if this
It's
falls on
always
its
that
face? But what if it's great? So, you're like smacking yourself around all the time. Constantly. But, you got to feel the fear and do it anyway. Because when you think about the pivotal times in your life when you made choices and moved, even though everybody else said, don't do that. Don't go there. Don't join the Air Force. Don't, join a band. Don't do this. Don't go over there. You're like, I can't listen to those voices, or I'll just be stuck in this spot.
Yeah.
And you think about the people who live lives of just they hate their job. They hate their life. They hate. And it's debilitating.
Yeah.
And you see how old they look.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Yeah. When I told people at my job, and I love the people that I work with. I think that's always what everybody says. Mm-hmm. I could definitely, do without the crazy corporate stuff. But anyway.
The people, though. I love the people.
Yeah.
It's the other crap I can't stand. But anyway.
When I told them that I was leaving, and they were like, well, what are you going to do? I was like, I'm going to be an artist. And they were like, good
Wait,
for
what?
you.
They were?
Yeah.
They were supportive.
Everybody knows
you're an artist. So it's like, it's about time.
Oh, yeah, I got a lot of that.
Yeah.
It's about time. So it's, you're like, okay.
And see, you've got that segment of people who have always been your fans.
Yeah.
In whatever way they could be. It's supportive. Maybe they can't all buy your pieces. You should be able to buy her piece. She got that good payment plan. But seriously, I mean, you've got a group of people that have ride or die, they're going to support.
Yeah.
They're going to do whatever they can to help. Even if they can't buy pieces, they're going to attend shows, they're going to tell people, they're going to promote you. See, I've always felt with Juliette, just between you and me, that she's going to blow up and be famous. And then all my paintings, I have 7 of them so far, they're going to be worth a boatload of money. And I'm going to be like, and the bidding starts at. I totally believe. From the first time, I always thought, for me, collecting art, which is something my husband and I have done over the years, I like collecting art from people that I know because the story and the connection between us transcends the art pieces.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I like it. Whether you blow up and become an international star on Mars, I don't care. It doesn't matter. These will always be part of my life. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like, and everybody else should know it. I'm just saying, because I personally know her and you see her work. It's thebomb.com. You can go on her website and get her work. I'm just saying, it's a shameless plug, but I'm shameless. So there you go. I'm just like, I've enjoyed really spending this time with you and talking with you a little bit more because I love the evolution of your art and how through pain and perseverance, you're getting in prayer.
Definitely prayer.
Now you're at the place where you can truly soar. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
Thank you. I do too.
So for any young artists that are out there just getting started, what would be the last words of inspiration that you would give to them?
Just do it. Not to take from Nike, but just do it. I mean, honestly, nowadays they have more opportunity at their fingertips right now than I feel like we did. You've got the whole world in front of you. I mean, you can work remotely now. You've got all these new cool things coming up. It's just crazy the opportunities that artists have now. So my thing is just do it. Don't waste time thinking about it. Just do it.
And there you have it. I mean, I can't add anything to that. And, thank you, Juliette, for being here today. I really appreciate you. And, her website address will be in the credits and you can buy her art and see. Now, you have a show coming soon or you're preparing for one right now?
I'm preparing for a couple of shows. One of them is going to be more themed around Black Lives Matter, but there's also one that's going to be themed just about Black lives, people of color. You see all those like Norman Rockwell type of pieces where it shows
everyday lives of everyday people.
Life, and I think sometimes people look at, people of color and don't realize that we're just people.
We go to the grocery store.
I want to see us represented more in art. So,
and I think that's a beautiful thing. And we should be just every day, working our lives, doing our stuff, just living like everybody else does. That's good. Yeah. Thank you, Juliette. And I look forward to more great things coming from you.
Thank you. And thanks for your support and your love that you always.
Well, I'm a fan.
So am I.
we're total fangirls. We like each other's work so much. We're just gonna keep it moving. But with that said, thank you for tuning into the Healing Vine podcast today. So may the Lord bless and keep you. May his face shine upon you. And may he keep you in his perfect peace as your heart and your mind are stayed on him. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Your healing vine.